Hey guys, what's up? Welcome along to Arsenal Fan TV, and we've just defeated West Ham by 2-1 at Upton Park in the Barclays Premier League. And first of all, just let me start by saying what a crucial victory this is for us. We went into this fixture with West Ham being above us in the Premier League table, which put a lot of pressure on us to get something out of this game, and to come away with all 3 points is absolutely incredible. It is a good performance from us today, especially away from home. I certainly think that some of the away performances we've had this season, most notably against the likes of Swansea, Stoke and even Liverpool, have been well under par. And considering that we put in a more resilient outing today against a very good West Ham side, let's not forget that this is probably one of the best West Ham sides that we've faced in a good long while. They're able to boast the likes of Alex Song, Sacco, Enner Valencia, Andy Carroll up top, and these are all top quality players that could have caused us a lot of problems today, but I think we shut them down very well in that second half. But not to underestimate them, not to underestimate them. I mean, I do think West Ham played well today, and I think they were unfortunate in this game in some respects. But just let me get into the actual match itself. We started off with Francis Coquelin in midfield alongside Matthew Flamini, which I think was really the main talking point heading into the game amongst all Arsenal fans, because Coquelin has barely featured for us this season, and he was out on loan only a month ago to Charlton Athletic, and it was a real surprise included to see him in the team. But although quizzical at the start of seeing it, I thought Coquelin was probably one of the most influential players in the team today. He broke up play really well. I also think that he really overshadowed Matthew Flamini in that midfield role. Flamini was pretty much non-existent throughout the course of the game because he was being so well covered by Francis Coquelin, and I think he's a good squad player, Coquelin. I certainly do think that. I think we do need someone a bit more physical, someone certified in that defensive midfield role. But Coquelin is a good player to call upon when you've got an injury or two in the team, because as he proved today, he can put a shift in and he can perform when he has to. Certainly one of the more efficient players today. As well as that, we saw Nacho Monreal start at left back, coming in for Kieran Gibbs. It was nice to see that little bit of rotation within the team. Although Nacho Monreal did start centre back against Queen's Park Rangers, I do think he played well today. I don't think there's any player that I can pick out as being relatively poor in this game. I do think that there were some players that maybe could have contributed a bit more to the side. Certainly I think Matthew Flamini was, like I said, he faded away throughout parts of the game, but he didn't really have much to do because he was so well covered by Francis Coquelin. We also saw Alexis Sanchez start the game, saw Danny Welbeck start up top because of course we didn't have Olivier Giroud. I mean, saw Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain come back into the team. And although we were without Giroud in this game, we started with what appeared to be a front three of Alexis Sanchez, Danny Welbeck and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain going forward. And I think in games where we're having to counter-attack against teams, and we're having to sit deep throughout large spells of the game, I think that works to such a great extent. I think that was proved today, because every time we counter-attacked, although especially at the start of the game, it didn't start off well today's game. I thought West Ham dominated. I think they dominated for about at least 40 minutes at that first half. They were unfortunate to score. I mean, they had a really good chance through James Tompkins. Maybe if that had been Sacco, Valencia or Carroll on the end of that ball, that could have been 1-0 to them. It could have been a completely different game. As well as that, they had the Alex Song goal, which was disallowed. Of course, that's highly debatable, that one, but whilst I'm on the topic of it, there were players standing offside from what it looked like, and they were interfering with player. It's a hard one to call, but I think at the end of the day, didn't give it. Fortunes were going our way, and you know, it was a wake-up call to us. I do think we progressed a little bit more after that, but West Ham was still unfortunate to have not scored in the game. And if it was maybe Chelsea, United, City that we were playing, maybe we would have gone a goal down. But I think you've got to remember that although West Ham had a lot of chances in this game, we also had a lot of chances. I mean, he quite easily scored 5 or 6. We squandered a whole load of chances through the likes of Danny Welbeck, Oxlade-Chamberlain. Santi Cazorla had a really good chance. It was Adrian in that final half an hour of the game that was keeping West Ham in it. And just relating back to that front three that we started with Welbeck, Sanchez and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, like I said, when we're sitting deep and we're playing against teams that are going to pile the pressure on us, it works really well, because every time we counter-attacked, we counter with meaning and we counter with pace. Someone like Chamberlain or Sanchez or even Danny Welbeck would plough the ball from our own half into the other half. You've got those two supporting wingers, and it just works really well for us throughout the course of the game. I mean, I know that neither of our goals really came from those kind of situations, but it was plain to see that it did work. I certainly think Giroud is a player that, obviously, his contribution to the team is unquestionable. Since he's returned from injury, I think he's been superb for us. But I think he's a player that is more useful in situations where we're going to be dominating a game, as was proved in that game against Newcastle, being 4-1 the other weekend. Now, certainly that's just a theory that I've got. But I do think that Danny Welbeck and Olivier Giroud contribute a lot to the team. But I just think that, you know, it's nice to have an alternative. I think it was really good that we started that front three, which was really pacing. Cazorla in behind, pulling the strings. Cazorla, another player who was absolutely immaculate today. But going through that first half, I think a lot of Arsenal fans wouldn't be too pleased with how it went, because it just replicated the kind of games that we've seen recently. Like I said, the games against Stoke, games against Swansea. I mean, it wasn't as bad as the game against Stoke. because, you know, we hadn't gone 3 goals down. But then again, the performance from us wasn't particularly great. West Ham weren't clinical when they needed to be, and that's really what let them down in that first half, whereas we took our chances when they came to us, and we were getting quick breaks. That's what, like I said, was really impressive. I do think we need to line up with that front three more often, because again, in away games, it's just so good for us. It works, counter-attacking with pace, when we're having to sit deep, works really well. Driving the ball out from our own half into the opposition half, quick, intricate passing, great runs by our players. We did get a breakthrough. Fortunately, I would say, Winston Reid bringing down Santi Cazorla. I do feel a bit sorry for Winston Reid. The ball got away from him and he couldn't really do much about getting his feet out of the way. It was a stonewall penalty. Santi Cazorla taking over from Alexis Sanchez in this department, proving why he does that, and it was an absolutely class penalty from him. Deserved that goal because he was, again, like I said, an immaculate standout player today to put us 1-0 up, and then shortly after, to the surprise of myself certainly, and to probably a lot of Arsenal fans, made it 2-0 through Danny Welbeck. Originated from a throw, and it was great work down that right hand side. I think you had Santi Cazorla, you had Matthew Debussy, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and I think Alexis Sanchez was partially involved in it. And crossing from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, great work by him. He certainly deserved a goal today. Was unlucky not to score in that second half. Played it through to Danny Welbeck, 2-0, going to half time at 2-0, 2 goals in very quick succession. Yeah, it was fortunate, but our goals were very well worked. Well, apart from the penalty, the second goal was very well worked, and you know, I certainly think West Ham deserved a bit more, because they certainly had dictated the game. They were holding the tempo of play, and they certainly were the more dominant side in that first half. But going out into that second half, I thought we started it really well, and I do think in the worst possible start came to us, because like I said, I do think we started well, but the worst possible thing happened. We did concede. We seemed to be inept at dealing with balls in the air. I thought from every set piece today we looked incredibly vulnerable. I think Szczesny certainly kept us in the game at times, but Kayute scored, makes it 2-1, and for that final 35-40 minutes of the game, you think it's going to be really, really edgy. For large spells it was, but West Ham dropped off a bit, which really did surprise me. If we were playing a team which maybe had a bit more energy about them, maybe if we weren't playing a side over the Christmas period, I certainly think in that second half a lot of the players became tired. I think that's when we should have brought Walcott on, in all honesty. I would have maybe brought Walcott on for someone like Danny Welbeck or Chamberlain, just to inject a bit more pace into the game, because the amount of times we were flooding forward in such numbers, and we had opportunities to score, and someone like Walcott with pace would have absolutely brought that to the team, and he could have put a couple of chances away. But maybe he's being rested, and hopefully we'll see him start at some point. I mean, he's been on the bench for like the past 2 or 3 games now, and we haven't seen anything from him. The same goes with Lucas Podolski as well. I would have liked to have seen him. He's got, both of these players have fantastic records against West Ham. Neither of them made an appearance today. That was frustrating to see. Podolski rumoured to be off in January. Leave your thoughts on that in the comments box below. But we have come out of this game with a 2-1 victory, and it's a massive, massive, massive result to us. We've beaten a team that were ahead of us in the table going into this game. We're now moved up into 5th position, which, you know, still doesn't sound great, but if we get a win over Southampton, which by no means is going to be easy, they're also a team that are above us in the table by goal difference. They've had a good draw with Chelsea today. They're going to be high on confidence after picking up some really good results against the likes of Everton, etc. So that's not going to be an easy game, but if we could come out of that with 3 points, of course, they're going to be about Schneiderlin, so we should take advantage of that. And, you know, we could go into that game with potentially a very strong starting 11. I mean, the 2015 season, not season, but 2015 year could certainly be a positive one for us. You know, we've got the likes of Mesut Ozil coming back into the team, Jack Wilshere. Hopefully we'll see a bit more from Walcott, etc. Aaron Ramsey coming back. And, like I said, hopefully it will be a bit more positive from us, and hopefully our away form picks up. But those have been my thoughts really on today's game. It was great to have Laurent Koscielny back in the side. He's a player I haven't really talked about, but he was quite evidently the standout player as well today. I think he won 3 out of 4 headers with Andy Carroll, who is considerably taller than him, so Koscielny was massively influential in the team today. Certainly brought out the best of Per Mertesacker, but Mertesacker, even though he played well today, made a couple of really good last-ditch challenges. It does concern me that he's having to rely so heavily on another player to make him have good performances. He's a World Cup winner, for God's sake, 30 years of age, shouldn't be having to do that. I do still expect a lot more from certain individuals within the team, Mertesacker most notably. But as we've got Koscielny back, he does seem to be playing more efficiently, as does that whole back line. I still think we do look shaky from set pieces, but you know, these are all learning curves, and hopefully we'll get some more players in January, and we'll stiffen up at the back. But like I said, guys, those have been my thoughts on Arsenal's 2-1 victory over West Ham United. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like, rate and subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV. Check out my own channel, AFC Game by Game. Have a great new year, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.
I thought Coughlin didn't do too bad, like considering he got thrown in at the deep end. Oxlade, I think he fell a little bit short of pace towards